Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the UnLearnT podcast. I am your host, Ruth Abigail, aka RA, and this is the podcast that is helping you gain the courage to change your mind so that you can experience more freedom. And I am here with my co-host. What's up, Jaquita?
Hello, friends. It's good to be here again. We're going to have a great ride.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. So for those of you that are just tuning in, this is the segment where me and Jaquita talk about some things we've unlearned, primarily in our 20s, to get us to
middle adult.
middle adulting.
Middle adulting, okay?
We have a fairly decent middle adult life,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to unlearn some things to get there. So we want to talk about it. How's that?
Let's talk about it, man.
That's all right.
Talk about it.
So we actually we met in our 20s. We're coming up on.
Not, Ruth Abigail. We met at 18.
When I say in our 20s.
No, ma'am. It's not the same.
What I mean is 18.
It's not the same. And see, that's what happens when you get old. You start equating the numbers. We met in our 20s. No, ma'am. 18 and 20 are different.
They are very different. No, you're not wrong. My apologies. We met when we were 18.
Forgive our people.
Wow, we met when we were 18. So, Quita, so we want to. One of the things that is important about kind of getting to the stage where in your middle adulting years you have some, you really enjoy it, is making sure that you have community that you enjoy, that pour into you, that are life-giving, not life-sucking. And so I have an incredible community, and Quita is part of it. And so we just want to talk a little bit about what that's like. And so, and kind of how we got there, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, and all the different things. So, Quita, you want to tell the people how our friendship started?
Yes, I would love to tell the people how our friendship started. Thank you so much, Ruth Abigail. Ruth Abigail, she was a poor, lonely soul in college. We had to bring her out of the depths of the things that she I don't want to tell the story.
I don't want you telling the story anymore.
I'm not gonna tell the story. Nope. I'm not gonna tell the story. But anyways, Ruth and I were both on the gospel choir together at Furman University, the Furman University. Go Dens, all right? Okay. Always. That's why Ruth
you all the time.
That's why she's wearing her purple and white hoodie, because she loves Furman so much.
Sure.
But we were both on the gospel choir together, and we were both really passionate freshmen on the gospel choir. Like, we both really love the gospel choir. Our choir director, shout out Miss Gwen.
Miss Gwen, man. Shout out
Miss Gwen. Every Christmas holiday, she used to invite us over. She used to make that macaroni, that red velvet cake, the yams. Okay, yeah. Miss Gwen was the absolute best. Anyways, Ruth Abigail had kind of not talked to me much through our time at Furman, besides one chance meeting where we really had a little skedaddle about how to say her name. She was trying to convince me that her name was Ruth Abigail, and I left that meeting saying, I'm going to call that girl Ruth, because that was before I knew Black people had double names. But I was happy to acquiesce. But anyways, we met on gospel choir. Ruth Abigail then randomly, we exchanged numbers that night because we were supposed to play spades. And then that never happened. Long story. But Ruth Abigail then calls me randomly, and I'm all excited.
Hold on. You have to hold on, because this is important. So I was out with a different group of people, and they said we're gonna play a game. I said, okay, cool. So they said, give me your phone. I said, okay, cool. No. So then you scroll through. So the deal is they scroll through, and then they scroll through your contacts. Then you tell them to stop, and then whoever they call, you gotta pick up the phone and try to figure out who it is without looking at your phone. So I said, okay, cool. By the way, this is not something you can do past the age of about 21. So we did it, and I called, and you have to understand, like, I grew up in a all white high school. Most of my friends were white at the time, honestly. And I knew, I had Black friends, and I knew who they were, but I knew this wasn't any of them. And I was like, I know there's somebody Black on the phone, but I don't know who this is. And it took me a minute, and she was just talking, and I was acting like I knew who it was, and then it clicked about 30 seconds in. I said, oh, was Jaquita. And she was like, well, yeah, who do you think he was talking to? So that's how it happened.
All right. So yeah, that is the trifling beginnings of our friendship. Ruth Abigail prank called me,
Yeah, I
didn't know
did.
it was me. I'm over here excited to talk to her. And then she goes, "Oh, is this Jaquita?" And I'm
It's
like,
a
"I've been
great
talking for
story,
20
man.
minutes." And also, I have this very distinct, beautiful voice. It shouldn't have taken you that long. But that's neither here nor there. I think, Ruth, honestly, it was like one of those moments, like the moment we clicked, we clicked.
Yeah.
Like when we finally like figured out that we were supposed to be friends, like it was like an immediate, like, this person is supposed to ride with me like for life. And I think I felt like that about all of the people that we were friends with in college.
Yeah.
Like every person that we met with, shout out Joy, shout out Janae, shout out Ashley, shout out Monique, like everybody that we met with in those college years that like kind of became a part of our crew, like it was just like an instant like connection where you just knew that like that person was going to be one of your forever friends. And I think college gives you a really like just like a really like saturated season to like kind of find your people, right? Everybody that you meet in college is not that person, right? Right. You do have people who are in your life for just a season. You have people who are in your life for a reason, but there are some people who are just like your forever friends, right? And college, I think, presents an opportunity to really like meet those people and develop like really, really deep connections because you're around them all the time. But what I'm finding with most people who are in their 20s, like right after that college season, is that they don't have that saturated environment to meet people anymore. And so it's really difficult to continue to grow in community when you're not in community with people anymore, right? Like you're at church, you might be at church, you might be at work, you might be, doing your thing, you might be traveling a lot. But college, like we lived with each other for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And so it was really easy to build that community and to build a really deep and lasting connection. So one thing that I think that I have conversations with people all the time about is I don't know how to make friends now that I'm outside of this environment. And so I think that that's something that I think is a really significant part of your growth from young adulthood to middle adulthood.
And I think there's something really interesting and key that I think is a key part of our story that we kind of gloss over, but is important, is that the reason we met is because we met in a common, because we liked a common
Mm-hmm.
thing. And
Yeah.
so I didn't go to the gospel. I went to gospel choir because I enjoyed gospel music. I didn't necessarily expect to find friends. I mean, I think there was a
Yeah.
little bit of that, but I wasn't there to get friends. I was there to participate in something I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I think that one of the ways that anyone even if you're not in an environment where community is just kind of
Mm-hmm.
around you, you gotta have to spend some time figuring out, what do I like, what do I enjoy, and put yourself
Yeah.
in that environment, because you start off on common ground when you think, okay, what's a thing that I can do, and you don't have to have friends to jump into that.
No.
And you might find friends into it, but I'll dig a little deeper. When we talk about community and friendship, I also think the first thing you've got to be very sure of is who you are. You won't
Oh,
be able
yeah.
to you won't be able to build quality friendships without first knowing who you are, having a clear understanding of your identity and what you enjoy. Like really digging into that with no shame, with
Mm.
no guilt about it, with don't judge yourself about it. Be real about it. Like, this is what I like to do, and
Yeah.
this is who I am, and present that, and then
Yeah.
you'll the right people will start to flock to you.
Well, I also think that like it really is like present what you know about yourself now and be in a safe environment where who you are can flourish.
Right.
Right. Like I think a lot of times we are putting ourselves into bad soil and we're wondering why we don't see any fruit. It's not that there's anything wrong with you, it's that you keep putting yourself into unsafe environments and you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to flourish. if the soil is not deep enough, your roots cannot grow deep in that place. Right. And I think that what our friend group allowed for us to do was that there was enough depth within all of us to be able to create an environment. Like, I don't know everything about myself. I'm 30 something, right? I'm a middle adult, gosh darn it. And I'm still learning more. Don't be holding up. If anyone wants to know, you can send the UnLearnT podcast a message. Let us know how much you like it. And then first 3 people, I'll send my age. We trying to get our likes up, all right? Like, subscribe, follow, okay? But I really think that, like, you really have to have a safe place. Like, yes, I need to know who I am to a certain extent. But when we were 19, 20, girl, know who I am.
No, you're right. And I'm not saying like know who you are fully, but know enough about yourself. We knew enough to know we like gospel music.
Know enough to like, and then go into that place operating like, and like we went in there and we were like, Ruth Abigail's in the alto section, I'm in the tenor section. We wasn't even like in the same, we weren't like having conversations during gospel choir rehearsal, right? I would just see, it was like, at the time the gospel choir was deep too. It was like, probably like 40, 50 people on the gospel choir. I really wasn't paying her too much attention until we both talked about, other things that we like. But we both went hard. Like, we were there every practice. We were like, and then like the very next year, both of us were on these sophomore year. And then that's when it like took off. Right. Yeah. But I think a lot of and I think the other thing is, I think the thing that has also made our friendship thrive is that we had to learn to live in difference. And I think that has always been kind of like a cornerstone of who we are, just as friends, just as people growing together, that it has always been, Ruth and I say, like, our foundational friendship scripture, is, iron sharpeneth iron, because we was like this, like all the time, and so, but I learned how to be myself by being around somebody who didn't always think like I think, or who wasn't always considering what I was considering, right? And so there were some things that I had to grow in and become more of. But as I engaged with Ruth Abigail, she was becoming stronger in who she was. But it wasn't because we were so similar; it's because we were so different, and it really worked in our favor.
Yeah, the thing that is crucial, and I hear this a lot in why it's so hard to make friends, is because we have very, very low trust barriers. I'm sorry, high trust barriers. In other words, it's hard to trust, right?
We got high walls.
We got high walls.
Yeah.
And, this idea of even getting to the point to where you're able to sharpen each other takes trust. Because, I wouldn't be a better person if I didn't allow Quita to rub up against some stuff that was uncomfortable, and vice versa. But the only way she gets to do that is we build a trust. And so this is interesting, Quita. What do you think about this? And I think this is gonna help. I hope this connects. But when we were in college, Facebook had just taken off a few years earlier, right? We didn't have it on our phones. We didn't have it. It was not I kind of cringe at my Facebook post.
My gosh. When Facebook Memories comes up and reminds you what you were talking about in 2007, I was like, oh gosh.
It's embarrassing. I mean, the things that we put out there, and the things we thought were funny, but it's just like, okay. But that wasn't our primary way of communicating. It wasn't on our face all the time. So it's almost like we had time to build trust with a human, because we weren't, the speed of trust automatically slowed down.
Yeah.
What do you think would have been different for our friendship if we had had the same level of access to social media as there is today? Like, do you think it would have made a difference?
Oh my gosh. Like, immediately so many things come to mind. Like, number one, like, I think social media for us now is like, I go to social media to laugh. Like, I go to social media to be entertained. and it takes up so much of my mental space. Like even when I'm like on the phone with people, like I'm sending memes, like I'm on my way to bed and I'm like, hold on, I need to find at least 3 funny things, before I go. But it really does, we most of our friendship is encapsulated in these hilarious moments that nobody else would know. So there is like a reel running in our mind of all of the memories that we've made together. And that, like, do you remember Fry That Chicken when we found that on
Fry
YouTube?
that chicken. Fry that chicken. Fry that chicken. Yeah,
Hey,
we
go.
gonna fry
Like,
that chicken.
yeah.
Everybody want a piece of my chicken. Okay, all right, go ahead.
I got a pen. I got a
I'm gonna fry this chicken in my hand.
Yeah. But like that stuff, like it was like we were sitting there building the memories together. We're not gonna talk about the songs we wrote while we were in college.
Yeah,
okay.
We did. Yeah,
we could have cut a record. Okay. We was out there making songs.
Yeah.
But I feel like we were building memories together. Whereas now I feel like not that people aren't still building memories together, but their relationships are based around their online like lives. Like they have an online version of their friendship.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. Like it was our Facebook, we really only talked to each other on Facebook like during the summer. And it was
no,
kind of
true.
like, like once a month. Like, and so I just feel like we've lost. I feel like this year, I'm not gonna say that they lost or that they're at a disadvantage, because I really hate, trying to like frame it like that for them.
I agree.
Like, like that, but they are definitely living a very different reality where connection has to be more intentional. And I think building community, I think that you can't negate the necessity of being in person with people, and making sure that like you really find time to engage one-on-one with people, and not just at parties, because I feel like, also I don't remember being as busy as some of these students are. Like, I'm around college students all day and they are like, I got 3 jobs. I'm like, yo, we was chilling. Like we were working. We were, we went to Furman, so we were studying. We were, Ruth Abigail was not studying. I just want to let y'all know that. I don't know. I ever saw her study, not one time. But we glad she made it out and everything like that. I'm here to put a business out. That's what I'm here for. But I just don't. I just think that they have to be more intentional. I think that, social media, you're always building an image. Like you are like, oh, I got to be the flyest. Oh, I got to be the cutest. Oh, I got to be, I got to say the funniest thing. I got to find the perfect caption. Like you got to be intentional about being real, or you're not going to grow.
Yeah.
Like if you are still trying to live that social media life and you're trying to replicate it in your interactions with people in the daily world, you are going to miss your opportunity at building genuine connections. We are not building images out here, right? We are becoming people of purpose, people of destiny, people who have, things that they are hoping to accomplish and hoping to become and hoping to produce. But social media is all about, I can like throw up a picture right now, make myself look 30 pounds lighter, okay, and make myself look real good and be sitting here eating a bag of chips. Right. And so like, I just think that it prevents people from being real with each other sometimes, because they don't know how to separate it.
No, and I was thinking that same thing. Like we had authentic, like we met each other in an authentic way on a regular basis. Yeah. There was no pretense. There was our world of comparison was a lot smaller. Yeah. And so, I think that also helps you to accept people in a different way. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think all those factors matter, but it doesn't mean to say that we can't have genuine relationships now. Like you said, it takes intentionality. It's a little tougher, and I think it's so much more crucial. And this isn't something we don't know, but we know how badly COVID affected people when it comes to community, and it just busted wide open this desperate need, right, for humans
Connection.
and for connection.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a great time, and it's a right time, it still is, to begin to pursue that, because there are more people out there that are itching for it in the same way you are, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not, it's not just you, you're not alone. People need that connection and need that community. And I do think that social media can help begin that. I think the issue is it doesn't stay there. If it stays there, like you were saying, that barrier is a lot thicker when it comes to an authentic relationship. It's very hard to do that. And also, you know, you learn this, I think, as you get older, but the truth of the matter is very few things are actually gratifying that aren't hard. I mean, the things that actually take the work, take your, blood, sweat, and tears for all intents purposes, and like just really push you right beyond what you feel like your current capacity is, or it challenges you. Those are the things you really learn to cherish. You really do.
Yeah.
And so real life friendships are worth the time. They're worth taking the time.
And I'll also say, because I don't want to present like, like an image that our friendship was always perfect. Like, it took, like, when I say there was like a butting of heads, like there were times where it was, are we still, we
for about a year. I didn't know if we were going to make it.
Yeah. And this was in college. Like, this was in college. Like, I was like, I don't know that we're gonna make it. But what always kind of brought us back to it was, I was like, what we have, like the potential of who this person is in my life, and you get to a point where, one, you miss your friend, and you also get to a point where you realize I was better. I was better when I trusted. I was better when I was open. I was better when I was vulnerable. Like, there's something that this relationship does for me that I can't do for myself. And I think that that's everybody. And I think that that's what we realized in COVID. That because there were probably some people at work that you may not have liked as much. But when you were sitting at home by yourself for 4 months, you was like, you know what? I was better with Susie. I was better. I was better with the people that I liked, and the people I didn't like, right? Because there was growth in community. There was strength in community. There were new ideas. There was new, it was a regenerative place to be, because it was something that was always renewing on the inside of you that you just don't get from being alone. And I think that, we've talked about, like, a lot of ways that people can continue to build community, because I know that a lot of people, especially as you're growing in life, you're becoming more successful, are you just finding yourself in a different space in life? Like, I want to make sure that, like, like, how to settle yourself. One, settle yourself in knowing yourself and being good with you and liking you, right? Because I think that that's like one of the first barriers. It's not just that people don't know themselves, it's that sometimes people don't like themselves. Absolutely. And I want you to, like, spend time loving you, like liking you. And that for me happened at 28. Like, at 28 was the age I tell everybody I started saying, you know what, Jaquita, you that girl. And you have to be able to tell yourself that, because when you walk in the room, you need to know what value you add, and allowing yourself to be open to the connections that can happen. And I know a lot of people use, like, different apps. They use meetup apps. Like, you and I found each other, from gospel choir, because we had that interest. I still have gospel interests. Yeah. I still like going to gospel choir concerts. I still like going to getting involved with the gospel choirs at the schools that I work with. Like, go to these things that you enjoy doing, and connect with people while you're in those spaces. I think that social media can be used to find community, and to find, if you like to run, if you like to play soccer, if you like to play basketball, join a league. like join an adult league, like get somewhere where you are actively being your best self and allow people to find you in your best place.
And don't you? I think it's important joining those things. You won't get the fullness out of it if you're not willing to put your guard down and begin to trust, right? Begin to allow yourself to trust. And I also think that when doing those things, like, don't expect things to just flip overnight. Like, I think, again, that social media culture has trained our brains that things happen fast, and things happen quickly, and it may not. So the consistency around that is important. Don't just go once or twice and be like, I don't like these people. You don't know them. You don't know them. Like,
hold on, because I gotta say something for all my discerning people out there. Trust your gut.
That's true.
You ain't
That's
gotta
true.
like everybody. Trust your gut. Like when and trust your gut both ways, right? Like sometimes people know. I know real quick who I'm supposed to be with. Like I know real quick, like who rolls with me, who matches me, who can I be vulnerable with. I do a weight test, right? When I get with new people, I got a 2-pound weight. I'm gonna give you 2 pounds of information about me. I'm gonna give you 2 pounds of Jaquita, and I'm gonna see how you hold it. If I put 2 pounds on you and it falls through, hey baby, we ain't even got to worry about this trust. Like I couldn't trust you with 2. I'm not about to give you 10, right? Like, but you got to go out and test people out. And sometimes you ain't really got to test out too long to know this ain't it for me, right? But I'm not saying go out there, because trust is dangerous, right? You're taking a risk. We want you to take educated risks, like find people who match your interests, who match your values. Me and Ruth Abigail are 2 incredibly different people. I mean, I'm on here in a full regalia with makeup on, and Ruth Abigail came on the screen in a hoodie. Like we are 2 extremely different people, but our values are aligned.
Yeah.
We love people. We love community. We love building up young people. We love pouring into people. We love seeing the people around us win, right? The way that I connect to people, it's always through my values first. And it starts, I get introduced to them by my interests, but I get connected to them by my values. And I think that that's important, that you know what it is that you value, right? If you are a person that values financial wellness, you want to see people prosper. Whatever it is, you want to see people be safe, right? You want to see people be mentally well. You want to, whatever it is, whatever your values are, right? Your interest will get you in the door, but your values are what create those lifelong friendships. And when it came to the hard times in our friendships, where we were realizing, and really all of the hard times in our friendships were because our differences were trying to get the best of us, right? Like we were struggling with where we disagreed. And all of those hard times were met with, when I stepped back and I looked at it, God was teaching me something about, number one, who she was as a person and who I needed to be to continue to be a friend. And I became a better friend because I learned to overcome that difference. But you got to give people a try.
Yeah. I agree. You got to give people a try. And that values piece is really, man, that's crucial. There's tons of exercises you can go to, and I've done them. Sometimes it's hard to figure out your values. It's just hard to do that. Like I've done a couple of exercises, some group, some individual. There's some out there online that can help just kind of narrow down. First of all, what is even a value? How do I even define that? What are the things that are deep to you, that are core to who you are? And that's not going to be the same for everybody. And this is for people, my people of faith. Even if you have the same faith, your values could still be very different. So you have to be very clear on that. And like Quita said, just because y'all have the same belief system doesn't mean y'all need to be trusting each other, because that automatically
may not need to be best friends.
You may not need to be best friends. You don't need to just
sisters in Christ.
Amen. I get that, but sometimes you just gotta you gotta still give it. I like that 2 pound, 10 pound. Discernment, because you don't know folk for real. You really don't. So I think I agree with that, and trust doesn't come cheap. Doesn't come cheap. And it goes both ways, right? So if you want to have trust, you got to be trustworthy, right? So it's not just about the other person, it's about you.
You got to be a friend to get one.
Right. And so I think that's crucial. Let's be open, right? Let's be discerning, and let's mirror what we want, so that we can attract the same thing. And
I was going to say that in a much more churchy way.
That's no. Oh God.
When you said let's mirror what we're looking for, I was going to say, let what you're trying to find be found in you.
Wow. Very good. Very good.
Let it be
wow.
Found.
Yeah, that was no.
You
win on the churchy.
Yeah, let it be found. Amen.
Let it be found. Man.
Let it be found. Okay.
I genuinely I really believe that it is possible to have great community. I think you have to work for it. I think you have to be intentional with it. I think you have to present who you truly are to the environment, healthy environments. And I just want to challenge everybody, because the truth of the matter is, you're just not going to grow to the level you want to without community. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. This culture today makes you think you got it, you can do it by yourself. I just need to do these 6 steps, and I just need to go forward. It's not going to work.
Connection is necessary.
It's not going to work. So, I just want to encourage you. We want to encourage you, man. Go and work on that. Like, go and work on that. So yeah, Queen of Cool. Hey.
You don't know the words?
No, I didn't want to because the audio is weird, and I didn't want to linger. It's kind of glitchy. So,
my Lord. Well,
anyway,
this has been fun.
Man, thank y'all so much again for joining us on the UnLearnT podcast. We will see y'all next week, and we're done, guys. Keep unlearning together so that we can experience more freedom.